friends, welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading channel with Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY and Elpida. So here we are in the homestead and we have a closet here. One of the challenges we have in this house is because both it is small and it was built some time ago, it is very deficient when it comes to storage space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was intended probably what, as a coat closet or something when it was built? And we're using it as storage, right?
But it's a half closet.
Yeah. And it is a messy storage.
Because why?
It goes there. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to organize if you have something like this. So this is both unsightly and a mess. Every time we want to pick up something, literally we have to take everything else out, right?
Uh-huh.
So it is not really a good solution.
Plus, do you really know what's in there?
I have no idea.
Right.
But we have this nice area
Uh-huh.
that we do nothing with. Almost like the soap, right? We use all vertical surfaces in the soap because it's a small soap.
Uh-huh.
So this is a vertical area that we don't use. And we are going to put an organizational device here, built, that will allow us to utilize that space. And hopefully alleviate at least part of this. So friends, we're going to go from this to this. So folks, today, using scrap from our scrap bin, we're going to build this organizational shelf that hangs into a door and makes use of space that otherwise will be wasted, right? I mean, this is usually dead space.
Yep.
So stick around. As always, we're going to show you everything you need to know on how to do it and give you along the way tips and tricks. So we gather some scrap, and we have a lot of other scrap as well in the shop, and we're going to build everything using scrap we already have. We're using a thickness planer here because we have one, but you can do the same thing using a hand sander. So again, not necessary, we're just using the equipment we have. But you can see here the transformation between the rough wood and when it goes through the planer, after a couple of times, how perfect it looks. So this is a great way to improve the quality of your wood when you buy inexpensive wood, in this case, picket fence material.
This has really nicely planed most of this, but there are a couple of spots, and so we're going to run it through again and get it all the way planed where it's a very nice finish.
Okay. The quality you get from a planer is really excellent and makes you appreciate how fast it is compared to sanding. You can see here the quality after 3 passes, which is all we did for each of the boards, and it is absolutely perfect. No other sanding is required. And again, compare it to the original and you can see what a great job this machine does to make a finished product out of a rough product. We really like our machine. So the way I like to set the saw is to set the teeth of the blade just above where we want to cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the safest ways to cut, because this way, even if I was to sleep and my hand can hear, it will hurt me, it will cut me, but it will not take my fingers off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the wood itself will not allow me to go all the way. I mean, look at the difference. This could take my finger off,
Right.
but this cannot take my finger off, right? So to me, that's the safety thing. Well, it will hurt, like, but
You'll still be injured, but not in
Right.
the same way.
not as severely. When you're doing big pieces of, long pieces of lumber, it is very hard to keep them parallel because it multiplies, right? The length from where we're holding your bolt multiplies the angle. So it's always useful to have a person helping you there, or if you have a feather board, that's also the same way. And here's the important factors here. That person should never be on the blade or past the blade. That will cause a kickback, right? So the person that's helping you must be before the blade starts cutting,
Right, so on the entry side and never on the exit side.
or on the blade itself,
Mhm.
because that will pinch the wood. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
And for the safety police here, I understand that not everyone is comfortable doing this cut. I don't know, ladies, would you be comfortable the way I did the cut? But notice that all my fingers are outside the danger zone, the red part of the saw, right? And I feel comfortable doing that. If you do not feel comfortable, use a stick, right? I feel I have more control not using a stick. But again, your safety is your responsibility, and you should never do things you do not feel comfortable doing, right?
Right.
Okay. Cutting a French cleat, because we decided that's how we are going to attach the piece to the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we cut 2 pieces because we didn't have one wide enough.
Okay.
Where's our other?
I put it in here on the
Okay.
table.
So a French cleat is in essence a 45, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then another 45 locks it. So this will be on the door, for example, and this will be on the shelf, right? Makes sense? And it makes a very, very good and secure, what you will call it, joint? Well, it's not a joint, but holding, because you have all this holding power.
It's a nice locking
Right.
mechanism to hold it in place.
And we went a little to, if we've gone maybe double the size, because you see, otherwise you end up with a sliver, and that is not good.
That's not sufficient to
Right,
hold
so-
your piece.
You need about this dimension, maybe 3 inches, to make a French cleat. We did go to the middle of this board, but again,
And again, here we demonstrated where you're using the push stick because
Right.
this was a much
well, you don't want your fingers
right,
there.
right. So for those safety police,
As I said, do what makes you safe. To me, I'm not safe having my finger here,
right?
you know?
Right.
So I don't do it. If that is something you're comfortable with, go for it. Your fingers. So Mrs. DIY, what did you do there?
Just wanted to take the rough ends off like that.
Which is common when you buy boards, by the way, right?
Right, and this is cedar and it's been sitting around for a while, so we just want to take that off.
So that's a good practice. It's not necessary, but it's good practice, right?
Yep.
You can see that give us a very nice finished area. And here we are, we finished all our cuts, and we are in our first dry fit. And now we start getting a general idea of what this will look like, right?
Right.
So now we're trying to decide if we want 3 shelves that are about the same size and they can accommodate something as tall as this really tall can, or we want something for smaller items as well, right?
Right. We could make one of the shelves a little bit less high
Right.
or space closer together for smaller items.
We're good. Of course, one of the fun things about homesteading is our ability to burn our waste, especially when it is products that are easily burnable like paper and boxes, reduce the fingerprint that we have, the footprint that we have in the local dump, and also we can use what we burn the ashes for some purposes around the homestead. For example, we can use them as fertilizer. So this is our final dry fit. We decided to have a little variation on the size of each drawer, the height, right?
Shelf, yeah.
And potentially, if you want to get really, really advanced on this, you can have it with dowels and have it be able to go on different sides, right? You can make dowel holes and just use dowels to hold the... Or you want to do that? You want to do that, or you want to go as we were initially planned?
I don't know.
Okay,
Talk
anyway-
through that. Final plans.
right,
Never final till it's final.
correct. I mean, the only thing, if you put the dowels, you need to attach permanently the top and the bottom to create the, what do you call it, the schema.
Frame.
The frame. And then you can have the rest of them movable. But again, it's a little too much work for this. But if you're doing this as another display cabinet, or for example, a bookcase for small books, those the paperback books, that would be a great hang on the wall bookcase for small books, right?
Yep.
That would be an awesome little design. So there are a lot of things. The techniques we show you are things you can adopt and make other projects as you desire. Don't go too high. Maybe we have to clear the door, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is our first dry fit test. We've hung it where it's going to go temporarily, and now we're going to make sure that it closes. Right? So the things you need to be careful as this opens. If it is too long, it's going to. It's like here. If I make it there, you see what I mean? So you need to make sure that it can clear.
Okay.
And that's the important thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you make sure it clears, you're golden.
Okay.
This is DIY. What are your thoughts?
Looks good.
All right. And the fretch clip makes it very easy to take on and off if you need to.
Right.
All right. We're back in the shop for assembly, and the 1, 2, 3 blocks are very good to make sure that you have a square, right? They are machined perfectly, and as you can see there, we have a perfect square on both sides. And the next step, of course, will be to put glue on them, right? And staple them in.
Okay.
You're going to see we're going to use glue here on the edge on the crosscut, dispelling a very old woodworking myth that you should not use glue in crosscuts because they do not add any structural weight strength. That is actually incorrect and has been very consistently disproven. It always makes sense to use glue regardless, even if it adds a very little amount of strength. A little bit of strength can be the difference between a project that fails or a project that lasts a lot of time. So put a little bit of glue, as we have started doing throughout our projects, and so far we have seen the benefits of doing so, and absolutely nothing negative, nothing that shows that it doesn't work correctly. Also, you can use nails here instead of brad nails. Ready? Cannot see it. There you go.
You're not flat.
Screws or dowels can also be used here as an alternative if you do not have a nail gun. Now, dowels can allow you to also change the position of the shelves and add a little bit of more whimsical finish to it. This for us is going to be in a closet, it's not going to be visible routinely, so it makes very little sense to spend a lot of time, effort and energy to make it look better than it looks right now. For this application, the brad nails should be plenty of strength. You're going to put cans on them, you're not going to put very heavy things, right? In fact, this is strong enough even if you were to put paper bags that will hold them, right? Mm-hmm. You just cannot put like 20 pounds items, but
Okay. So then we've got the 2 more shelves to install,
Right.
and then we'll come back, right?
yep. So every now and then you're going to have this happen. And again, in all the ones we did there, that's the only one,
And so that's the brad nail that
right?
is
And
kind
it
of
happens.
flipped through. Mhm.
And we knew there was a danger of that because of the orientation. This is very thin, and we could only have the gun in a way that this was a likely event, you know. So use your Dremel, or actually you can bend it back and forth if you don't have a Dremel. We have a Dremel, so we... And problem solved, right? All right.
Okay, so now we have the cross pieces that are going to help hold the items on the shelf, and for spacing we're using this as a story stick, which is, I want to say, a 1-inch square piece that we have, and put a little bit of glue on either end. And then of course we'll put a brad nail or 2 in there.
Put one to start with, go on the other side, so we can move it if we need to.
Right. Just to line it up.
That's our piece there. Okay. And now we're set.
Put the second one in here. And that looks really great. That's going to make a nice shelf, and again, that will hold the things to keep them from falling off, especially as you're opening and closing the door, right?
Otherwise, they really shouldn't fall off.
Right. And so 3 more shelves to do, and that'll put it all together.
This is our finished piece, and looking at it, if you remove this, it can easily become a little bookcase or a knick-knack display, all kinds of things, right? Pictures. I really like it. What do you think, Alpida?
I think it's turned out very well.
And we're going to paint it down the road to be white, but today it is very cold outside and the paint is not drying.
Right.
So let's put it on. Again, we already have attached the cleat.
The cleat. Mm-hmm.
The cleat is attached. The French cleat. We're not that kind of channel.
Right.
There we go. Very nice,
Okay.
huh?
Yeah. Okay. Test the closure. Parfait.
It closes.
C'est parfait.
All right. Amazing how much space this little project gives you in an otherwise unused area. Ta-da! Nice to everything is right there for you to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good. I really like it.
And it'll take some time for you to finish the organizational process, but this is demonstrating what this will do for you.
Right, yeah. I'm very pleased with it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's great.
And really, as I was building it, I know you have a lot of paperbacks. And I was thinking we can make a nice suitcase
Suitcase.
bookcase for your paperbacks, and it can be a hanging bookcase. Instead of being on the floor,
Yeah.
it can be on top on the wall, you know, in eye level.
Mm-hmm.
Just an idea.
Yeah.
And that maybe these are an overkill. I don't know. Maybe we didn't need them, but
Well, I think for this closet application, it's important because when the door opens and closes, those things will be moving.
yeah.
So I think it was important for this application. For a bookshelf, maybe not as much, but for this, you don't
Well,
want you don't want the cans just going everywhere.
Definitely for a bookshelf is not necessary.
Okay.
Well, friends, we're at the end of our episode for today, and this is our final product. We're very happy. This is exactly what we envisioned, right, Elpida?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is what we wanted to build. This is what we built. And really, realistically, you could buy something similar that would be probably, what do you call it, a metal mesh of some
Yeah.
sort.
A metal mess.
You know what I mean, not a mess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it will not be as useful, I think, because they're much smaller. They're very thin.
Yeah.
And they serve some purpose, but this really is better, I think.
And again, this is custom to your space, so it fits the space exactly as opposed to
Right, the advantage of DIY, right?
one of the mass-produced ones that you're just making work.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, we'll appreciate the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the other button twice. Share, like, subscribe. Let us know what else you might want to watch in future episodes of the Urban Homesteading channel. From Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Elpida, hope you have a great week.